and it belonged to my father, George Camman, and this train is over 80 years old. The actual real Flying Yankee train was built in Philadelphia in 1935, and it ran from Boston to Bangor, Maine on a daily basis up until about 1957. And it currently exists in a museum, train museum in New Hampshire, and it's being restored. The actual train had a diesel electric motor, engine, and all these, back in 1935, the cabs were all air conditioned, and this is pretty fancy stuff for 1935.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's middle of Depression, so yeah, to have something like that, right?
And I've got some Wikipedia stuff about that up here if you want to look. Now this train was built by Lionel starting in 1938, and I have a printout of a catalog from Lionel 1939. This train sold for $12.50. And that's about $250 to $300 today.
Did the train run all year, or was it a seasonal train? Because the fact that it has air conditioning makes it seem almost like it was taking families from Boston to their summer home in Maine.
Yeah, I really don't know that much about it. So anyway, this train does work and run. It's quite a story. My father, George Camman, grew up with his three sisters and his brother in the house in Burkholtz on the square just directly east of the fire hall. The house no longer exists. And his father passed away when my dad was just 2 years old. So I don't know how my grandmother, Minnie Camman, raised 5 kids and was able to afford the train. I really don't know, you know, how my father acquired the train. Now, when I was a teenager, I never knew he had this train up until I was a teenager. It was in a box in the garage, and I asked my dad about it. He said, it doesn't work, blah, 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 you know. So it sat in the garage. And I started working at Hooker Chemical after school, and I worked with a friend, Larry G., who you might know as a train guy on Brent Drive in Sanborn. So Larry wanted to, this is back in 1975 maybe, he wanted to collect Lionel trains in the worst way. So I told my dad, you know, the train doesn't work, why don't you sell it to Larry? So for $20 he sold it to Larry. Larry got it running, fixed it all up, and he had a giant display of Lionel trains in his basement for a number of years. 5 years ago, Larry boxed it up and returned this to me.
Oh, nice.
And it's just, I truly appreciate what he did. This, if you go on eBay, this might be worth like $300 to $400. And Larry just, you know, we've been friends since the 70s.
So he knew the family connection and
Oh,
wanted to give it back to you.
Yes.
Great, that is great.
And so it now goes underneath our tree, and the grandkids love to watch this go around the tree. And I think about it like, how did my father ever get this? How did the family afford it? And this train could easily have been thrown out at some point, because it didn't work, and without, you know.
No, but Germans don't throw anything away, so.
So if I can get it going. No, the more expensive train had the list. That was $16. I wouldn't amazed in 1935 that something like this in real life existed.
Similarly, if you want people to help them to do because like you said, back then,
So you're welcome to look at the catalog sheet about it or read up about